Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm still here with the one and only Mr. Katende the Incredible. And we're still doing the magic. Listen, my friends, we are here to speak about life, issues that have to do with life, because we know that life is important to you and us. And in the pursuit of life, we have so many challenges, so many tribulations. And many a times we seek for that place where we find somebody to kind of a shoulder to lead on, or somebody to tap us and say, my brother, keep moving and never give up. I think it was the great Winston Churchill who was invited one time after winning the wars in England, with World War several times, and he was invited to one of the universities to give a speech. So professors and students were eagerly waiting to listen to this great man, the public speaker, great orator, by the way, in terms of public speaking. And he stood up and everyone was like, okay, we're gonna sit here for now and listen to Winston Churchill. And he said, ladies and gentlemen, never, never, never give up. And that was it. And he sat down. Amazing, 3 simple words, never give up. I want my friend and great philosopher here, the one and only John and Katende, to demystify the concept of life in terms of should we continue pursuing? Should we give up?
I think I would strongly echo the words of such Winston Churchill. Never, never, never give up.
Why? Why is that so, Mr. Katende? Here is a guy grinning with a lot of pain, gracious pain. He cannot find any reason to survive. His wife has left him, the husband has left, or the child has died, or the mother has died, or poverty has struck. Give me a purpose, Mr. Katende. Why should I live another day?
I think people underestimate the abilities that the Creator gave them. I was telling you previously that you are a miracle. You possess a DNA with 3 billion characters. And every person that you see that is walking the earth has been a winner at some point. Right?
Right.
In order for you to be born, you had to win a race. Millions of sperms run. Only one makes the egg.
Absolutely.
So all of us that are walking the earth ran that race and won it.
Excellently said.
We became one cell in one day.
Right.
In the egg. After 3 days, that became 16 cells on its way to make between 37 to 75 trillion cells that make up a human body.
Wow.
As I talk to you now, cells have died and new ones have been formed in your body. Every after 3 seconds.
Wow.
Life is precious beyond our pains, our sorrows. Those that give up are those that have no purpose in life, are those that do not understand how privileged they are to be existing at a time such as this one. Thomas Edison, how long did it take him to come up with a bulb? How many trials? Over 1,000 trials. But he kept pushing, he kept believing. The rationale being that Thomas Edison, the great inventor and innovator, was able to find a purpose within his sorrows. So those that have accomplished great things in this world are those that have kept moving. It has been said by some great philosophers that whether I crawl, whether I walk, whether I run, I'll keep moving in the positive direction. Right. Nevertheless.
Dr. King used to say, keep walking regardless. Keep walking regardless.
That is the attitude with which we have to look at life. I would want to refer to the speech of one of my favorites, Malcolm K. Little, back then the Ballot of the Bullets,
right?
In which he was stating the agony of the 22 million black people in America at that time. I mean, he told them that blacks have reached a time where we need a self-help program, a self-help project. I do it right now, philosophy. I do it ourselves, philosophy. It's already too late, philosophy. That is what you and I need. Cassius Clay can sing, but singing didn't help him become the heavyweight champion of the world. Right. Swinging helped him to become the heavyweight champion of the world. So the time has come for us to stop singing and start swinging.
Excellently said.
We need to move forward in the positive direction. Right. Despite your pains, despite your ambitions, some of them are huge, some of them are big. But the people that have created the world we live, the fact that we use computers, the fact that we have watches, the fact that we dress, those are the people that they are not so different from us. So why can't we create a reality? Why can't we create a world like that which they have created?
Right.
People like Stephen Hawking were not the brightest in their earlier years. But when passion met purpose, inspiration met aspiration, things started to work.
Absolutely.
Isaac Newton was not a genius at the early years of his life.
True.
In fact, it was after discovering that the best way of getting back at his bullies was to perform better than them that he became the great Sir Isaac Newton that we read about in history. At 23 years, 1966,
right,
he was writing down the laws of gravity. So you can imagine any boy, irrespective of where you are born. Srinivasa Ramanujan was born in India, did a lot of groundbreaking mathematics.
Right.
One of the first Indians to make it in England in the mathematical society.
There is even a great guy who was actually told of me by some guy, I forget the name eludes me, but Dr. Miles Munro. Yeah. Dr. Miles Munro said of a man who was in Brazil, was called, I think, Andrea something, who actually did what they call the 8th wonder of the world. Yeah. He actually crafted human-like stature of the great 12 prophets in the Bible, including the disciples. And even up to today, in Brazil, people still go and get mesmerized about the kind of work, and yet he died a leper. Think about that. Yeah. He was a leper. He did all this without fingers, without toes, and he was able to crave out of that desire of excellency, in the pursuit of excellency. So what the young man here is saying, that whatever task that lies, I think Dr. King said it right. You may not be a pine in the valley, you may be a shrub in the valley, but be the best side of the shrub on the side of the real. So that's extremely important, even as we pursue, and that's very, very important. Even Stephen Hawking, like you say, I mean, those of you who probably know his image and the kind of things he was in his last days, even in his first days, you could literally understand that this was genius of its kind, sui generis of a kind.
He couldn't talk.
He couldn't talk. He couldn't. More like a vegetable state,
He could run through a machine.
But I think the point we're trying to say that be the best at whatever God has destined you to be. You don't have to be a photocopy of somebody else. Yeah. All you need to do is to make sure you find your lane, run within your lane, and when you run within your lane, nobody can catch up with you. Listen, I'm gonna end with these words by a great poet called Mario de Andrade. It says, my soul has a heart. He said, I counted my years and realized that I have less time to live by than I have lived so far. I feel like a child who has won a pack of candies. First he ate them with pleasure, but when he realized that there was little left, he began to test them intensely. I have no time for endless meetings where statutes, rules, procedures, and internal regulations are discussed, knowing that there will be nothing to be done. I no longer have the patience to stand upset people who, despite their chronological age, have not grown up. My time is too short. I want the essence. My spirit is in a hurry. I do not have candy anymore. He left in the package. But he said, in the long run, we have 2 lives. And the second begins when you realize that you have only 1 life left. So make use of that life. Make use of your life. Do your job. Remember the poem called If by Rudyard Kipling. If you can pull your strings, do everything within your resiliency. You don't have to question who's going to ask you. Your rationalization or your justification is not going to be brought about because somebody has said X or somebody has said Y. When you do something good, people are going to say something. When you do something bad, people still are going to say something. So do something anyway. God bless. We're coming back.